Hello and welcome back to the Forts Pro League. We're kicking off a round that I have been looking forward to for some time. As here we have on the left hand side, it is Team Fish Are Friends. Bruce and Nemo are playing as the Armadillo Commander here on Eclectic 2v2. One of the new maps added to the Forts Pro League pool. They'll be facing off against one of the fan favorites, the long time tested. It is Team Greenleaf, Dranistian and Vicro, playing as the Scattershot Commander. I like the Scattershot Commander. It's got a lot of projectiles involved. I do want to apologize for the casts both in, well, today and in the short-term future. As for those who have kept up with things, I've gotten sick after TwitchCon and it destroyed my voice, so we'll be a little bit low on the energy levels for the time being, at least for the next several days. What is not low on the energy levels are these snipings. We have sniper battles from both teams, Greenleaf kicking it off, but Fish Are Friends claiming the first eliminations, as once again the snipers are tormenting their turbines, which is a rather typical sights to see here at the Forts Pro League. Oh, beautiful. Nemo registering that Dranistian was using the wooden door strat, and the moment that converted to background bracing, well, Dranistian didn't even have time to react. Nemo just blasted it out of the game. And that's going to leave Nemo, or rather Team Fish Are Friends, ahead here in this match in terms of map control. Now, map control, I suspect, will not be a significant factor in this game. And the reason for that is both teams are going for later game heavier weapon usages. Team Fish Are Friends, with their Armadillo pick, are looking to go late game with all the eco and outlast their opponents, eventually claiming victory via attrition. Whereas Team Greenleaf, I can only assume they're going to be going with mass 20 mils. Now, it is worth noting that something strange is happening here, something fun. Specifically, they are sharing technologies. So Dranistian and Vicro are over here splitting the costs of production between each other. This way they can only spend one time the cost of the heavy weapons tech. This will enable one of them, it looks like Dranistian at this point, to get ahead in terms of economic production. So they'll be able to spend all of their money and dump it into eco investments, whereas Vicro pays for the technology. And then once Dranistian has gained the rewards from having access to this technology paid for by Vicro, then Dranistian will relinquish it back to Vicro, who will then do their own eco upgrades and weapon placements and such. It's a little optimization, but it saves the team a total of about 200, not 200, about 800, I guess in this case about 1,200 metal, which is fairly significant, but bear in mind that's the combined savings of both players for this strat. That's a lot of APM expenditure and frankly risk and consistency in build for that kind of benefit. If Team Greenleaf is able to wield that and manage it well, then they may get some advantage here. We'll see how well that works out for them. Dranistian, however, is suffering the wrath of Bruce's EMP. Notice that sniper came out, got one shot off, and Bruce just nopes out of there, just selling it off. And this is, of course, the token EMP strategy. You buy it for cheap, blast your opponent a time or two with it, and then sell it off for most of its value, enabling you to damage or at least disrupt your opponents at a minimum cost, a cost that you recuperate by selling it off. Very well played so far by Fish Are Friends. They have won the initial sniper dueling and now have, I would say, gained superiority, if maybe a little bit more than just psychological damage over their opponent's Greenleaf as we head into the heavy weapons phase. It's worth noting that Nemo has gone straight to cannons. This is something that we have seen, or at least these cannon placements, are something that we have seen more often in this particular season of the Forts Pro League than previous. as the meta shifts toward building your weapons directly in front of your core, such that if they get door sniped or destroyed, you lose the entire game. On the other side, we see the technology has been temporarily claimed by Vicro, so that they can build 20 mils with it. Currently remains unclaimed for whoever needs it at the moment. It is worth noting that Dranistian has gone with a howitzer instead of mass 20 mils. I was expecting mass 20 mils, but I do actually like the howitzer pick here. The howitzer pick enables the blasting of shields and other defenses, which are usually impenetrable to 20 mils. It is worth noting that the howitzer does not gain a benefit from the scatter shot commander. So an overinvestment into them at some point becomes inefficient. But there we see the first activation for Team Greenleaf, turning those 20 mils into shotguns. Overall, a power increase compared to their usual firing situation, usual firing mode. Some beautiful cannon shots, bypassing the energy shield and just managing to take out multiple turbines in Dranistian's base. Dranistian fixing that hole in their defenses there. So we're going to see those cannons, those 20 mils, blasting across the board. Bruce coming in with the fire beam defense to burn some of those 20 mils out of the sky. You'll love to see it. This is getting to the phase where someone's going to explode. The question is who and where. The weapons that are piling up, the damage output, damage potential for each player is getting to critical levels. A beautiful defense from Fish Our Friends. This is what I was talking about, that energy shield. Commander activated for Team Greenleaf. 20 mils empowered into shotgun mode. Half of their damage deflected by the energy shield, the other half scattering about, hitting nothing of importance. Team Fish Our Friends has to be very careful with that. Team Greenleaf, if they're able to focus their fire and hit something important, it's just going to punch through anything that Team Fish Our Friends has, even despite Fish Our Friends' armadillo pick. It's just a matter of, can they pick the right target? Do they know where Team Fish Our Friends are weak? Will they manage to line up their shots? And also, will Team Fish Our Friends manage to use the fire beam to defend against those shots? The answer is at least partially. With that volley completed, Team Greenleaf has managed to empower themselves, or at least enable their commander ability, recharge it. They've activated their commander ability, but no one's ready to fire. That may have been a panic activation there. Team Greenleaf may just have wasted the entirety of their commander active ability. That would be unfortunate for them. Well, that's actually kind of game-changing. The Scattershot commander relies on that Scattershot, well, active ability to deal game-winning damage. Due to the accuracy debuffs that come default in with the Scattershot commander, their typical damage, these standard hits, actually deal proportionally less damage just because they can't penetrate and hit those deeper goodies, vulnerable, expensive bits. So Team Greenleaf does actually rely on good commander ability activation timing to get real damage done, and there's an example of it. And just like that, Bruce loses both of their primary weapons. So Bruce is effectively defanged there. They still have a fire beam which is capable of dealing damage, but this is clearly in a position meant for a defensive posture. And Team Greenleaf still has a majority of their damage. You see Vicro with 420 mils and expanding for more. Dranistian with the howitzer. It's 20 mils. Going across. Going for the door snipe. Doesn't make it. But that was terrifyingly close. I love the addition of the EMP here. Just a little bit later to play with it. Just to keep Team Greenleaf on their toes. Fish Our Friends are playing this very well. Team Greenleaf, well, they've recharged their command ability again, so we're about to see another heavy hit sent the way of Team Fish Our Friends. Oh. Oh, if that... They activate, but they don't try to combine their shots. They just send it directly into Nemo's weapons platform. Half of it drops and lands on an energy shield, which, frankly, if those shots had been a little bit higher, would have destroyed Nemo in his entirety. Just his entire base would have been obliterated. The shots drop just a little too far down and splash harmlessly into the energy shield, and that keeps Nemo alive here in this game. More sniping out of Bruce. I love to see it. But here we have Jernistian activating his second howitzer and building up to a third. First howitzer flies, taken out by the shotgun, but the shotgun's no longer available to defend against the second howitzer. It lands. There's no follow-up here, so Bruce will be able to simply reconstruct the defenses without consequence. Team Greenleaf's commander ability is charged once again, so they're going to be able to deal penetrative power, real penetrative power in this next volley. It looks like Bruce is not saving for... Oh, but he gets the penetration, and Jernistian loses a howitzer. That's going to reset his damage output quite a bit, but here comes another activation, and those 20 mils are going straight for Nemo's defenses. The fire beam coming in clutch, saving Nemo's defenses from a hefty punch of damage. And Bruce is opening up another plasma beam. Or should I say, the first plasma beam. Since the Great Destruction. Bruce now has 2 fire beams ready to defend the skies from the lead wall that is being brought down upon them. Ooh. Swing and a miss. The plasma doesn't make it. Jernistian still only has 1 howitzer, which is not a surprise given the rest of his base is just dismembered. A solid hit. There's no follow-up. But the damage is enough to fully charge the active again, and here come the shotgun blast. Bruce should be able to defend the second volley. Doesn't quite time it right. Doesn't quite time the defense right, and Nemo feels the pain for it. He survives. He's got enough armor at this point to tank those hits. Team Greenleaf is going to have to ramp up their damage in order to break through Team Fish Our Friends at this point. This is the stage where Armadillo really starts to come in, because they've been able to build up armor over the course of the game. They've been able to build up their eco, and with the extra defensive efficiency, they can just kind of hold the line. Now, I say that, but Nemo over here is reconstructing the entirety of his defenses, seeming to rely on energy shields. I presume he's going to be repositioning. Oh, it's bad. Oh, it's really bad. Nemo, no. And just like that, he's gone. I mentioned it before, but that particular defensive style, if it's penetrated for any reason, results in the complete and total annihilation of the entire fort. And that single standard cannon from Vicro was enough to punch through the energy shields, and the 20 mils were enough to finish it up. And just like that, Nemo goes down, leaving only Bruce in this game. Now, Bruce does have the ability to reconnect to his teammates once base, but things are looking real unfortunate for him. He doesn't have the defensive structure set up to tank hits nearly as well as his teammate did. And, well, his teammate may have made some unfortunate, risky, but unfortunate nonetheless, decisions in terms of the armor and defenses. I don't foresee the difference making that much here. I think Bruce is running out of time. Bruce is going to have to land a... Oh, he's trying for it. He's relying on a door snipe, and he gets it. But the structural integrity of Vicro's weapons platform is enough to keep him alive, and at this point, I believe that was his last chance to get anything done. It looks like he's letting it all burn, and we will be going to the next round. Will we see a spiked shot out of Bruce? Or will it end first? About one more spiked shot. You can do it. You can do it. Oh, he tried. He gets a sniper, doesn't get a cannon. And we go to the next round. Greenleaf wins round 1. And we're off to round 2 in this best of 3, as here we have on the left-hand side, it is Team Greenleaf. In the last round, their opponents are playing as the Armadillo commander, but now it's Team Greenleaf's turn to play Armadillo. Despite Armadillo being defeated in the last round, it looks like Team Greenleaf is going to be here to show their opponents how to truly play Armadillo and how to gain a victory with it. Because on the other side, it is Team Fish Are Friends. Bruce and Nemo are playing as the Warthog commander. Warthog Commander makes a great experience, or a great effort to punch through armor, and everything else for that matter. The whole gimmick being punching through and empowering heavy weapons. Given that both of these commanders here specialize in going toward later game weapons, I do expect both teams to want to play this kind of slow and to go toward later game weapons. Team Fish Are Friends. There's a good chance that they'll go for something closer to a timing attack, just rushing out heavy weapons, just relying on their opponent's complacency to get heavy weapons on the board and punch through them for the win, or at least for an elimination, before going into the truly late game experience. It's worth noting that the Armadillo commander is the one that thrives on the late game experience. They want the game to go long so they can use that extra efficiency and defense to outscale their opponents. Is that the EMP? We have the token EMP from Nemo in the upper fort in this location. I assume that's going to be aimed at Dranistian. We do see Vicro placing a machine gunner, expecting the EMP to be here without developing much in the way of defense. The same thing with Dranistian here. I believe that it is vulnerable. It can get headshot here. I believe it can no longer be headshot here. And yes, that EMP gets intercepted and knocked out. Oh, this is different. I didn't expect this, but this is visible. This is something that they could have kept secret and potentially blindsided their opponents with, but they are leaving it to be revealed. We're going to see swarm missiles. It is extremely rare to see swarm missiles without a commander that specializes in swarm missile buffs. Swarm missiles themselves, quite strong. Their upgraded counterpart, even stronger. They are, however, relatively easy to defend against if you know what you're doing. This is especially true in any match that is bigger than a 1v1. It's quite rare to see them if you're not a commander that, boosts them in some fashion. A beautiful buzzsaw ripping Dranistian's defenses down, and the EMP lands. The EMP thus far has been unpunished. There's no sniper to remove it, so it is just all value for Team Fish Are Friends at this point. Every time it lands, it does a little bit of damage, and also EMPs the economy or something important, causing that much more damage or disruption to the opponent. In this case, Team Greenleaf. We do see an upgrade center for both players in Team Greenleaf. This is expected given the Armadillo pick, given that they want the game to go long. Bruce is going upgrade center, but this is less for eco and more for the nuclear option, as we now have warheads on the way. Is that an AP minigun? That's an AP mini. I haven't seen one of those outside of a 1v1 in since release. Release of the AP minigunner, I should say. But the AP minigunner does just kill the EMP. That is not a surprise at all. Very good at doing that. I think there's actually an angle on Nemo's core with that AP minigunner. Could certainly hit this battery here, which would be devastating to Nemo. I don't think it would be lethal, but it's certainly worth doing that damage if he gets the opportunity. I am still surprised to see these nukes here. By the way, we still have a slight drizzle of anti-air on the board for Team Greenleaf, so these nukes may make it across the board. It would be worth it for Team Fish, our friends, to have an EMP or anything to bait out machine gunner shots. Since the last rework to anti-air, such bait tactics are not end-all be-all. But it's still effective to have at least some. Especially if you can get a cluster fire, like you just blast with like 3 EMPs. That collects a lot of ire from the machine gunners. Of course, that's expensive. But now we have the nukes flying. I suspect these won't make it across. At least not cleanly. Okay, they just make it across. They stayed low enough to stay out of the firing arcs of the anti-air, and what anti-air was available from on high simply didn't have line of sight at the time, so yeah, that lands. That's gonna put Jornistian into a rough spot. It's not out of the game or anything, but he's gonna have to spend the rest of his immediate future defending against repeated nuclear strikes. And looks like his solution to do that is don't even bother with anti-air, just make a very cheap defense that that can be replaced cost efficiently against the nukes, which is, you know, usually that's honestly a really strong way of going about things. I approve. We do see a token amount of anti-air on the board for Jornistian. May it serve him well. At this point, we see Bruce adjusting his firing arcs here. Those nukes are going to go much higher now. They're not going to stay low to the ground anymore. Massive damage. Empowered nukes and empowered plasma beam. The nukes soften up and Jornistian gets penetrated, losing 3 mines in the process. He still has 2 upgraded mines, but losing 3 mines is devastating. That's going to set him back almost to the Dark Ages. He won't have to rebuild his tech because he didn't lose his tech, but he has to do everything he can to rebuild those mines while also keeping his defenses locked down, which is a difficult thing to do. I like Bruce here retargeting to the upper fort because they fully understand that the lower fort is not an immediate threat. Does not have weapons and is going to be spending the next 3 or 4 minutes licking their wounds after taking that hit. The nukes get drunk, they go wild, and in a dramatic showing get blasted out of the sky by the now thick layers of anti-air available on Team Greenleaf. They're on the receiving end, I should say. Honestly, I'm kind of surprised to see Bruce's adjustments to his nukes to make them fly higher. The low straight shooting nukes are usually the way to go with things. Vicro preparing for plasma beam fire beams blasts. I think he thinks better of it once he sees the... Yeah, he's waiting for that. Once he saw the nukes go, it looks like he was wanting to go with the door snipe option, and he gets it. Nemo opens the doorway to blast Jornistian. Jornistian gets blasted, but loses a plasma in exchange. Not a good trade for Team Fisher and friends. It's going to leave Team Greenleaf with a little bit more precision firepower and a pre-fired flak. Team Greenleaf is just dancing all over Team Fisher and friends at this point. The early strike from Team Fisher Friends, they got the damage done and they set Greenleaf back. It gave them an advantageous position, but momentum is swinging real hard into Team Greenleaf here. Yes, it's true that Jornistian has no offensive firepower and is nothing but a brick and hasn't even fully recovered his eco. But Team Fisher Friends are being picked apart here. Nuke lands. I want to say, as I see this, every time I see this every time we do any of our community matches. Like, we'll go in, we'll do something like battleships, or just even a larger match, and it'll be like, we have like 6 nuke launchers, and everyone always fires them all at the same time, and every one of the missiles dies to like a single flak or like a single plasma beam. Notice what you see, just like that. One plasma beam took them out. Don't do that. Last time, then the last volley, Bruce did the right thing. He chain fired. So when both nukes launched, they didn't launch at the same time, and that one flak was only able to take out one missile instead of both missiles. And one missile made it all the way clean across the board and hit Dronisthian in the shins. And that was good. And then Bruce went ahead and fired them both at the same time, and you saw what happened. They both got taken out. Don't do that. Don't be like that. Chain fire your nukes when your opponents are sitting there pre-firing you. Well, this is dirty. He's portal nuking. That means there's going to be a portal like right here. Yep, there it is. Right there. It's going to be front, it's going to be central, and it's going to be low. He's aiming below the shins here. He's going straight for the toes. He's hunting feet. Fort's feet. As Nemo is struggling to get his weaponry back online after taking that kind of damage. Ooh, devastating. That's a lot of laser fire. That's gonna send Bruce straight to the drawing board. And another pre-fire, and that one flak volley takes out both nukes. Well done, Team Greenleaf, holding that line. I do want to shout out the smoke launcher here. It looks like it got murdered for its crimes, but it did indeed do work against Vicro. Vicro took offense. So we have lasers back and forth. Snipers, somewhat back and forth. We have another attempt at the portals. He's got to fire that fast, because that portal's going to attract a lot of attention from Team Greenleaf here. I'm kind of surprised not a sniper or something poking at that thing already. If he gives it like any more time, we're going to see those fire beams and plasma beams go directly into it again. Oh! Doesn't quite line up the shot, but the flak takes it out anyways. Not a big surprise. That's like the perfect angle for the flak to take out all things. This is one instance where where chain firing them probably won't help. You kind of just gotta go and hope, or use a smoke launcher, or in some way distract or disable the flak to make that get across. It doesn't take much to get across, but you need a little more than just raw firing your missiles. Oh, the chain fire was enough. The flaks burn all their shots on the first missile, and the second one clears through, landing a hit. Now, one nuke doesn't deal quite enough damage to break everything, but Dronisthian has to pay a pretty hefty bill there. It's worth noting that all of this time, Dronisthian has been working his way up to a howitzer and is just now completing it. Looks like he'll be restructuring his defenses to enable him to actually fire the thing. As we have more laser on laser violence, no one loses their weapons this time, but it's close, as everything is on fire. We see the chain fire once again. And nuke ignites, and it makes it through. A good burn. Oh, you see door sniping chances? Nothing? Well, you know, if you can't snipe through his doors, you can just break his doors down directly. That works too. So the howitzer is finally online for Dronisthian after all this time, after being team tank for so long. At the 14-minute mark, Dronisthian finally gets a heavy weapon on the board and slaps Bruce Pixar just kind of across the face with a, you know, a light spank. More of a Ho ho. That's a door snipe. Uh-oh. Everything is burning. And the howitzer comes across again. Takes out the energy shield. The energy shield defending this fire beam. You'll love to see it if you're Team Greenleaf. Now, this is where I feel the need to say, this is the stage of the game where Armadillo shines. Armadillo is not a commander that goes quick. It's not a commander that's big and flashy or even shiny for that matter. Just slow, methodical burn to attrition, because all of this damage, all of it gets repaired quickly and at a bargain price. Something that Team Fish Are Friends can't do. This kind of damage, they pay full price for it. And that kind of damage, that kind of repairable is expensive. Whereas Dranistian will not only be able to afford it, but replace with fancier things like metal. So that's where the difference comes in, because Team Greenleaf is going to defend, or at least phase tank those hits cost efficiently. Whereas Team Fish Are Friends are going to eventually run out of money if they keep taking hits like that. It is worth noting that Vicro is using laser beams, which don't deal a whole lot of economic damage. Lasers back and forth. Vicro loses a plasma, which is important to note. It's also worth noting that the explosion from the plasma detonating took off half the health of Vicro's core. So Vicro will not be reconstructing that plasma, because if it goes for any reason, Vicro will explode. Oh, perfectly timed fire beam, and Dranistian takes another hefty hit. Is there a follow-up? Not one heading that direction. We might see this plasma finish, as he's not going to be able to penetrate. Oh, that came crumbling down. Well, that's unfortunate for Vicro, losing weapons and a lot of investment in that moment. Yeah, I hate to see it if you're Team Greenleaf. A little early on that fire beam. But the double nukes land, that's... Look, I know Dranistian gets cheap repairs, but that's not a kind of hit you can expect to come back from easily. A beautiful door snipe. Vicro and Nemo going for another laser duel in the mirror of the earliest game sniper dueling. And just like at the beginning of the game, Nemo wins that duel. Vicro loses a plasma. Looks like he loses the last plasma as well. What I was about to say before getting so rudely interrupted by massive damage is that the laser beams out of Team Greenleaf don't deal massive economic damage. So while they are cost efficient in terms of receiving damage, they're not exactly cost efficient in terms of dealing damage. And that's just going to be Team Fish Are Friends don't have a lot of economic pressure against them, even though they're taking constant hits from things like lasers. Like, sure, it'll slow them down because they have to replace weaponry, but that's an opportunity cost, not a real pressure, I'm going to say. They're not being directly pressured out of the game so much as just being forced to make the decision between which weapons they can use instead of all the weapons. And for that reason, I love this switch up here into cannons for Vicro, because cannons apply massive economic pressure, just in terms of raw repair bill required to, fix the damage they deal. Here comes the howitzer, again splashing limply across Bruce's forts. That was a lot of anti-air. Those nukes stood zero chance. Yeah, there's like no way that Vicro gets hit by those nukes. Those nukes are going to have to go directly into Dranistian, and Dranistian is well prepared and experienced with tanking nukes directly to his face. Yeah, Bruce recognizes that the only target available is Dranistian, and Dranistian is happy about, or at least as happy as you can be given the circumstances. Do we see a return fire snipe? We do, and he gets it. Nemo loses a plasma. Nemo also attempts to door snipe Vicro in that moment, and doesn't quite make it, but threatens nonetheless. This is one of the least effective howitzers I've seen in a long time. It's nothing to do with Drinistian's aim or anything. It's literally just Bruce is aware of how to defend against howitzers, and without support, that howitzer's never going to be able to do much of anything. Oh, that's too much damage. Oh, that's death. It's not actually death. That's just the death spiral. Like, you can't take that much damage. That's not okay. Drinistian will not be able to recover his fort before the nukes come again, and when the nukes come again, it's going to be potentially lethal. I don't think it's going to be directly lethal, but it will open up enough vulnerability that if there's a follow-up like this plasma, there's a good chance of ending it. Yep, there it is. And Drinistian falls. Defense is opened up by Warhead and blasted by Plasma. But you know it, lasers and nukes. Name a better combo. You can't. That's the trick. It is the combo to go. And without Drinistian's defenses available, these nukes are going to fly near clean up to Vicro, and Vicro is not prepared to tank those hits. He's got enough anti-air to hold the line this time, but that is not a long-term experience for him. Vicro's got to do something here. Those cannons for Vicro are out and they are dealing damage. Nemo has felt it. But it's not enough to shut down the firepower of Team Fish Are Friends, and they are coming. They lost their last round and they are not happy about it. And there it is. Directly from below, Team Greenleaf is destroyed. And that brings up the teams to a tie in this best of 3. So we're going to the decider. And we're off to round 3 in this best of 3. You heard that right. The scores are even. It is winner take all. Team Greenleaf here on the left-hand side are playing as the Firebird Commander. Oh, I like this. They have options. They have several options, and we'll talk about them in a moment. Because their opponents on the right-hand side are going with the Armadillo Commander. Now, I realize that both teams have played Armadillo Commander in this series so far. And everyone who has played Armadillo Commander has lost their round in which they played Armadillo Commander. So, I'm not saying Armadillo is bad luck. I'm just saying maybe it would have been wise to choose a different commander. You know, just for reasons. But Nemo and Bruce are looking to prove that Armadillo Commander is the way to go in this round. But their opponents, things are going to get weird. Firebird, I don't know how to feel about Firebird because Firebird does several things well, and all of them are suffering. It is the everything is on fire commander. I'm a big fan of Firebird, if only because of the psychological damage it deals when your opponents understand that they're facing Firebird and now have to deal with facing Firebird. I don't really want to make a prediction about what Greenleaf is going to do with this, because there honestly just are several different things you can do. Like, you can do early game like mortar spam, you can do late game heavy, like you can just play standard heavy weapons rush kind of deal, or not even heavy weapons rush, but like heavy weapons brew. You can play literally anything with Firebird, because Firebird's active just gives you an empowered weapon. Like every weapon, whether it be early stuff like mortars or later stuff like cannons and lasers, like it empowers everything. It's not a massive power spike. It's not Warthog levels of strong, but when you combine the power of every weapon from minigunners and snipers to your cannons and lasers, it does add up, and it adds up specifically in a way that requires extra APM in order to mitigate, which can overwhelm your opponent quite easily. Remember, there was one tactic a while back which just involved going AP snipers and igniting everything. It's like, oh yeah, it's behind metal, it's safe, it's not safe. The AP round goes through the metal and then ignites whatever's behind the metal, and God forbid it touches something. That something is now on fire and burning and taking damage the whole time. So we're not going to see early game shenanigans out of Team Greenleaf here. They're going 1 cannons, 1 laser. We'll see how that works out for them. As we're going to see... Looks like we're going to see Howitzer out of Vicro. No, he's saved up for a Howitzer and then built a standard cannon and then is unsaving for the Howitzer, so he can't do that. Okay, well, whatever makes you happy. Dranistian, we'll see which specific version of lasers. So, Firebird empowers the fire beams, not the plasma beams, at least not directly. So I would expect to see a bigger proportion of fire beams compared to plasma beams at a Dranistian, but also fire beams themselves don't deal a lot of damage, so we'll see how that goes. On the other side, Team Fish Are Friends, it's all pretty standard affair here. We are seeing some machine gunners. I think they might suspect mortar play out of Dranistian, which I would not be super... I don't blame them for this. But Dranistian is not going for mortars. Though it looks like he's building a mortar pit. Like, I really don't blame them for thinking he's going mortars, but we can see inside the fort. We know you're not going mortars. I wouldn't be surprised to see him throw mortars down, though. I mean, I'd be kind of surprised if he didn't. It is going to be 20 mils out of Vicro. Oh, yeah, okay, so there are the mortars. Yes, the Bruce and Nemo did correctly recognize that mortars were inbound, just very that is a lot of mortars. Okay, well, 6 mortars. I love to see it. I'm actually a super fan of this strategy, especially as Firebird. Just go mortars at like the 6-minute mark. Catches the opponents off guard, usually. Obviously, Bruce and Nemo are not completely caught off guard, but surprise mortars out of nowhere, just it works well. I like to see the 20 mils here, the empowered iterations of 20 mils when they're, empowered by Firebird is extra. I don't know that Bruce and Nemo recognize that they're against Firebird yet. I haven't seen a big reveal moments. They may think this is Scattershot or Shock and Awe. We'll see how that goes. Typically, if you're going to do this like 6-minute mortar stuff, you want to build it in a way that doesn't reveal that you're going mortars beforehand. You want at least that first volley to land uncontested. Just to, surprise massive pressure. But there'd be a smattering of anti-air available, and that is guaranteed reveal on what exactly Team Greenleaf is. As it's fire beams and mortars, and then the 20 mils out of Vicro. There's enough anti-air to destroy most of it, but one of it lands, and that leaves less anti-air for the next volley. Wow, all of it's taken out. Well, that's unfortunate for them. Alright, so at this point, Bruce is going to be searching for door snipes. Then I guess technically both players for Team Fish Are Friends are going to be searching for door snipes. There's not going to be a whole lot of door snipes available against Dranistian. I like the addition of the mini gunners here. Typically in this kind of strategy, you go mass fire beam. You have like 4 fire beams and then your 6 mortars. I like the addition of the mini gunners. It's different, but it's also pretty strong. When the empowered weapons activate, those miniguns double as just bonus damage, like real bonus damage, which is nice. The empowerment, by the way, doesn't cause additional damage to the projectiles. It makes all projectiles ignite things. I think technically it adds a small damage multiplier to some weapons, but realistically, it's just like in practice. it just ignites things. Which means that if it hits a weapon directly, that weapon will take guaranteed damage from the fire as it burns, and that fire will maintain the damage until it's put out, so you're guaranteed to get extra damage on anything you hit. This is where some of that psychological damage comes in, because suddenly your entire front of the fort is on fire, and also you don't have an alarm indicating that you have fire, so you don't know if you've actually gotten it all until your fort crumbles or doesn't crumble. One of the two. Mortars make it across again. Oh! Nemo finds a... Oh my god, that is so frustrating. Nemo finds a hole in Janistian's defenses, punches through, takes out a couple mortars. Whereas Bruce fires his plasma, doesn't get anything real done with it, and gets it sniped, not by another plasma beam or laser weapon, but by a literal sniper, which is just, you know, horrible to deal with. It just means Team Community was on the ball with their snipers. Forge Pro League levels of on the ball, which is impressive. Nemo with a double AP sniper over here, waiting to pick things off. And we see things heading toward a stalemate direction, it would seem. This one might be a long match. Vicro needs to scale up his damage output. Dranistian is rebuilding his mortars, and the mortars have not been particularly effective. Nemo is scaling up his damage output, first by fixing his energy production. Mortars are trying. Oh. With the commander active ability, everything is on fire. And the chain fire out of the 20 mils will make it such that the burning does as much damage as possible. And it's enough to, you know, score and scorch the front of Bruce's base, but not enough to deal any lasting damage, as it were. The fire beams from Bruce are enough to shut down Vicro's 20 mils, but once again, Bruce loses a laser to just standard snipers. Dranistian loses a laser to multiple plasma beams digging directly through the front of his fort. He loses both of them, actually, which is really unfortunate for Dranistian. Dranistian is now laserless. Completely defanged, at least in terms of laser weaponry. Still has those mortars, which are, you know, they're trying. Honestly, I think it just kind of needs to do the early game mortar thing of just constantly spam the mortars and just hope one gets through. Because we're talking like tabby levels of APM consumption. Just force fish our friends to overinvest into anti-air here. Maybe he doesn't have the energy for that. He certainly doesn't have a lot of turbines going for him. You know what? It's going to go up to 400 energy per second, which should be enough to constantly fire the mortars. As we see incendiary 20mm digging through. Tickling the fort, giving a bit of a warm-up. Plasmas digging through the front of Janistian's base, removing the double miniguns. Look at that. Just random fires burning through elements of Nemo's base, breaking turbines and anti-air alike. And it gets through and lands. Alright, Janistian, I want to see those mortars firing on cooldown. Pretend like you're playing AI-controlled weapons. Make your opponent squirm. You can do it. You have the energy for it. I believe in you. Bruce is making expansion down here. If this expansion goes up, we may see a fire break through the firepower threshold. Oh, massive damage. Nemo just takes all of those mortars directly across the top of his base. That's going to be the science you kill. There is blood in the water, and the mortars go flying. Nemo lost most of his anti-air, and with it, most of his ability to defend against those mortars, and they are coming. More damage dealt, more deformation. Nemo is hanging on, using wooden structure to just, you know, defend by virtue of spending wood and rebuilding it. That is a limited time activity, as the resource expenditure for that is a lot. But it will be enough to delay the inevitable, at least for the time being. A beautiful defense against that howitzer. Bruce blasted out of the sky, but the mortars are coming in. The anti-air takes one or two of them out, but Nemo is, again, just kind of locked in this death spiral of constantly building wood just to stay alive. That might just have saved him there. The anti-air coming from Bruce, knocking out the entire wave of mortars, and with it, that gives Nemo an opportunity to reconstruct. And we see a redirect onto that anti-air just to make sure that it doesn't happen again. Bruce's anti-air is now, it's gone. And the mortars are landing, and the howitzer lands. Bruce has been disconnected from his eco. He reconnects immediately without any significant loss, but just the fact that his eco got hit in the first place is an indicator that this is going very poorly for Bruce here. Look at that. Next volley takes out a mine. You would think mortars would be the MVP of this round. Welcome to Firebird, where everything is a threat. Once again, the mortars fly and just strip Bruce of all of his upper level defenses. The 20 mils are coming in for the vengeance, for the actual damage, and they get it. 3 more mines fall. Bruce is out of mines. He's not getting those back in the near future. Bruce is he's in a lot of trouble. He's and the sniper just igniting the fire beam from behind through the metal. That's just a menace. And down he goes. Ladies and gentlemen, Bruce has been knocked out via mortar. I'm crediting the mortars for that kill. They did most of the work. Nemo is still trying to dig through Drunistian's front, but realistically, Drunistian doesn't really care about anything that's in his front. Yeah, he's got a couple of fire beams there, but that's not... They are important to Drunistian for the purposes of getting damage done, but they're not important for the purposes of doing the damage themselves. So even if those fire beams go down, Drunistian's still a massive threat, and it's not a significant vulnerability in his defenses to have them there. He builds his defenses well on that location. And so these mortars are just going to start ticking. The howitzer has been defended against quite consistently, but look at this. All of this metal here to defend against things like fire, and it's just getting chunked by the mortars. As once again, they come across. They go directly toward his core, so he has to defend that angle. He can't just avoid it and hope it goes away. It won't. Howitzer lands, igniting everything, at least everything nearby. Mortars once again, taking more chunks out of the defenses. Look at that, he gets a door snipe and loses a machine gunner because that's what got door sniped. Don't you love it? When you're using earlier game weapons, the cheaper weapons, you take them out, it just doesn't matter. It's like, oh yes, I have more. And they rebuild so very quickly for so little cost. You're using an entire plasma beam to door snipe a machine gunner? Haha! Joke's on you. Now you can't door snipe my teammates' howitzers. That's a lot of damage. Mortars are just so atrociously cost efficient, especially for their DPS. They struggle a little bit to get through metal, but look at that. Nemo is selling metal and replacing it with wood just so you can have additional volume to the defenses to mitigate against the area of effect damage. And now Viker's adding in rockets. Rockets will seal the fate. They will be the final nail in the coffin that is Nemo's current fort. Nemo trying desperately to defend, constantly activating that commander active ability to get those cheaper repairs, but his base is on fire again, as is the usual state of playing against Firebird. And here come the rockets, incendiary and all. The core is exposed. I don't know how that wasn't a direct hit. Well, it ignited anyways. Come the rockets. There goes the last of the frontmost layer of armor on Nemo's base. A beautiful energy shield. The rockets just make quick work of it, knocking it out. The question now is, which weapon gets the final kill? Gets the final hit? It's the mortars. MVP of this round as Team Greenleaf wins. Ladies and gentlemen, I want to say thank you for joining us here in today's episode of the Forts Pro League. Make sure to hit that follow button, hit that subscribe button, because we got more content like this coming out every single week, multiple times a week, and I will see you guys on our Saturday community events. I'll see you guys for the stream.